don't get caught posing your Godzilla the way that you want to. Because if you do, we'll have to get TJ Storm in here. And you wouldn't like that, would you? Dragon Ball, horror, kaiju, and more. Steven Story Reviews. Hey there, collectors, it's Steven here, and welcome to another Hiya Toys review, where today we're going to be taking a look at Godzilla 2014 from the seminal movie Godzilla. Godzilla, that's what it's called. You know, fans put the 2014 in there, of course, but I'm rambling. So, it's a high exquisite basic Godzilla, and folks are now getting it in hand because BBTS does have this now in stock. So if you do want to pick this up because you've been looking to get this, congratulations, you now can. However, with that being said, a lot of folks have been on the Hiya hype train for many months, and they have admittedly have a lot of good releases. But this one, is it a miss? I think Hiya has a little bit to learn from this release. So let's take a look to see whether or not he's going to be worth adding into your collection. So in the looks department, this is something because the Heat Ray version was actually just announced, the Atomic Vomit, and a lot of folks are a little confused, and I think it's just because of how information gets released from Hiya, which is definitely something that they can do a much better job at getting the information out there. So they resculpted and they re-engineered the 2014 sculpt from the ground up. So the original promo pictures that you're seeing from Hiya directly and on BBTS's website, no fault on any retailer, those are outdated. What you're going to be seeing in front of you is completely new, and it's really good. Yeah, it really truly is. So previously, folks were comparing it to an outdated model that was used for 2014. Here, I can't exactly pinpoint it, but it does look very good at least. So it does have that going for it. Now, this model is going to be the updated one, and there's a whole other discussion about the Atomic Vomit variant, which I'm not going to go into in this video. Now, though the sculpt here is really nice, some of the details are a little soft compared to what we saw at some of the different conventions and so on. But when it comes to the paint, that is where the figure definitely could use some improvement, and that is going to be in the main focal point, of course, of any character, and that's going to be the face. What am I talking about here? He's got dentures. Yeah, he's going to be Grandpa Goji here, which is rather unfortunate. Now, for the eyes, the pupils are a little hard to really notice, but he is looking forward. They're going to basically be right in the corners of the eyes. I don't know how you would say that, but he does have white eyes, which is apparently something that licensing parties want, but nevertheless, the teeth have very poor definition to them. They're basically going to be a tan-ish line with some red wash to them, and considering that we do have a very well-defined history of this particular Godzilla with poor teeth paint in the 6-inch action figure scale, it is a real bummer that Hiya couldn't have eclipsed where some other companies have dropped the ball. But nevertheless, we do have some other great paint apps that are going to be found on the figure, including some blue paint apps, which, interestingly enough, when NECA did their 2014, originally the run had some that left the factory without the blue, which was an error. So yay, it's great to see that we do have that here on the figure. We do have some browns that are included to kind of give Godzilla a bit of a rust look, a little dirty. We do have a very notable tan sort of underside of Godzilla around his chest and around his belly, kind of like around the plated area, if you will, which looks really cool. The dorsal plates are nice and spiky. We do have the well-defined lines that are found in there. Generally speaking, the figure does look good. I think in maybe some areas there could be a little bit of a better cleanup of maybe some of the, I don't know, it's not exactly a wash because it doesn't look like a wash per se. It kind of looks like maybe a Gundam marker. Those of you who are really well versed in paint apps, I think you know what I'm talking about. But nevertheless, I think he looks good in what they're going for. It's just a shame about the teeth and what happened there. Now, when it comes to the articulation, the little intro there, yeah, no, we're making some jokey jokes, which is all fine and dandy. But when it comes to the articulation, Godzilla is pretty rock solid, and I think fans are going to enjoy. Unfortunately, we do have a couple of more issues here, and that is going to be pretty annoying when we go to move our guy around. So first, let's go ahead and talk about the jaw, and I'm actually going to go ahead and zoom in here because it's going to make more sense. This is another sculpt and paint issue that is easier to see here. It's very, very difficult for some to see, but when it's pointed out, it's going to be pretty obvious. This here is the indicator of the pin that is used for the hinge for the jaw. Yes, indeed it is. So it's going to be there, and it is vaguely visible over here as well. Some were debating that it's not there, but you can clearly see that there's a flat point there that is going across that's where the pin is. And that is indeed there, not only because that's how the jaw opens and closes, but you're going to see that the tongue is rather difficult to move. That is because the jaw hinge actually runs through the tongue and helps to keep that in place. So that is how the tongue moves. Rather interesting on the engineering front, but nevertheless, that is how the whole mouth articulation is moving. Now, when it comes to the whole neck assembly, including the head, I'm going to go ahead and just get to the end here and just pop this off so you can kind of see what we have going on. We have a ball joint where it plugs into the base of the neck, which is pretty rock solid. Then we do have this connector system here, which is generally speaking fine. Then we do have a ball joint here, and then this is where the head's going to pop on. Okay, so reassembling the neck here, which is pretty simple to do if you should have parts pop off, right? The issue is, as you're going to move Godzilla around, it doesn't take a whole lot of force to really get Godzilla's head and neck to pop off, right? So you can move the neck around at the base. See, I'm not really putting forth a whole bunch of effort here, and you can get Godzilla to look left and right, but sometimes you may overextend it and you'll get this portion of the socket to pop out. You'll get Godzilla to look down. He has this double chin here, and he's not able to look down maybe as far as he could. So it does present a little bit of an issue, and it can pop off with relative ease. Now, Godzilla 154 does have a little bit of a tutorial on how you can remove this double chin, or at least a portion of it, to help with the range of movement, if that's something that you feel comfortable in trying. So it's just something to really keep in mind. All right, so now that you are just aware that the head is easy to pop off, we do have the shoulders, which ball joint. Pretty standard for the MonsterVerse Godzilla design. You know how the shoulders are going to be moving around. There's not really going to be anything new here. What we do have, though, is we do have the elbows, which this is brand spanking new. This was not included whatsoever in the promo pics, nor hinted at, which is good to see. So we do have a hinge here and here, and then those plug in on pins, or pegs, and they do swivel around at the bicep and the forearm. And here's just a point that I would like to make. A $50 action figure, right? It's actually going to be about $30 in mainland China. And then, again, okay. Once again, going very gently. Come on. You know, sometimes I really wish that this was something that I was forcing. It would make this much easier. Presented without context. Anyway, now, so we do have the head, which is a bit of an issue. It likes to pop off easy. The other issue is going to be the hands, and this will be a quick jump into the accessories as well. So we do get fists, which is really fun because he can put weapons and stuff in there. So I like to mess around with that. We do have splayed hands as well. The splayed hands, they do pop off pretty easy. They're somewhat loose. Just in comparison for the fists, you can see it's not as easy to pop off. So we do get left and right fists. I just put those on as is, just for an easy comparison here, so you're able to see that. Cool. We do have a ball joint in the waist, ab crunch, what have you. Kind of limited side to side, but he can twist and turn. Keep in mind he's kind of an oval, so you're kind of pushing it. Beware of any sort of paint scratches that are there. All right, hips, ball joint, but once again, keep in mind the design of this Godzilla. So kind of sort of not really limited. They changed up the knee design, which this is actually pretty cool. Instead of this kneecap like being in between the knee and the shin, it actually kind of cascades down. So we do have a double hinge system here, which is really nice, but then we can just get it to go really straight and a little bit of a swivel here and a swivel down at the bottom. Ball jointed ankles, which provide just a little bit of range of movement, and then a full ball joint segment for the tail. Once again, presented without context. So, good. We covered the accessories, size comparison time so you can see how big it is. 6-inch scale, which is fine. I understand that they were going for the scale with the other kaiju that they've released, and Mamimuto was smaller as well. I personally would prefer relative scale instead of more so actual scale, wherein, we make the monsters about the same size, where, all Godzillas line up at the same shoulder height, and then we have all the other kaiju adjust their height to be the same. That's what that means. But if you are looking for a 6-inch scale, Godzilla 2014, hate to be a spoiler, but oh yeah, buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. This is going to be the choice, considering it is going to be probably the cheapest one on the market right now. So you can't really get the Monster Arts for a reasonable choice, which I would say the Spitfire, if you're going to go with a Monster Arts, is going to be the best one. And the NECA, it was $20 when it came out. I would not pay a hair over that. Yeah, this one for $50, I think all things considered, it's worth it. The Atomic Vomit just got announced. That one looks fine, except there does seem to be some image editing shenanigans going on with the heads. I posted about it on Twitter. Go check it out. But nevertheless, if you want a nice vanilla Godzilla 2014, I don't think you'll go wrong with this. I am still aggravated at the teeth, but nevertheless, it's a good purchase.